Imagine waking up to your worst nightmare. Your child is missing, and hours later, you find out she's been murdered. This is exactly what happened to Kevin Fox in 2004. Kevin's 3-year-old daughter, Riley Fox, vanished from their home in Wilmington, Illinois. After an intense search, her lifeless body was discovered in a nearby creek. But the nightmare didn't end there. Kevin was wrongly accused and convicted of Riley's murder. He spent 8 agonizing months in jail, only to be exonerated years later when the true killer was found. How did the police end up convicting an innocent man? What led to the eventual capture of the real murderer? This tragic case not only underscores serious flaws in the justice system, but also highlights the emotional and psychological toll of wrongful convictions. Kevin Fox's ordeal began on June 6, 2004, when he returned home from a concert with his children. The next morning, his son Tyler woke him up, saying Riley was missing. After a frantic search, Riley's body was found in Forsyth Woods County Forest Preserve. Kevin, already devastated by his daughter's death, was soon the prime suspect. The police subjected Kevin to a grueling 14-hour interrogation where he was denied access to a lawyer. Exhausted and desperate, Kevin falsely confessed to the murder, believing it was his only way out. Despite the confession, DNA evidence later proved his innocence, leading to his release in 2005. The real perpetrator, Scott Eby, was eventually caught in 2009, providing a chilling confession that detailed his crimes. This case sheds light on the dangers of coerced confessions and the importance of proper investigative procedures to avoid such miscarriages of justice. On June 6, 2004, Kevin Fox's life was turned upside down. It started as a normal night. After returning home late from a concert with his kids, he put his 3-year-old daughter Riley on the couch and his son Tyler on a nearby chair. Exhausted, he went to bed, not knowing his life would soon become a nightmare. The next morning, Kevin was jolted awake by Tyler, who told him Riley was missing. Panic set in immediately. Kevin searched the house frantically, but Riley was nowhere to be found. He noticed the front door was ajar, something that sent a chill down his spine. Desperate, he ran to his neighbors' homes, asking if anyone had seen Riley. No one had. With growing dread, Kevin called the police to report Riley missing. The community quickly rallied together, and a massive search ensued involving neighbors, volunteers, and law enforcement. Hours later, the search ended in tragedy. Riley's lifeless body was discovered in a nearby creek in Forsyth Woods County Forest Preserve. The details of her death were horrific and shocking. Riley had been bound, gagged, sexually assaulted, and then drowned. The gruesome nature of the crime devastated the community and marked the beginning of an incredibly dark period for the Fox family. The police quickly zeroed in on Kevin Fox as the prime suspect. In the aftermath of Riley's murder, investigators subjected Kevin to an intense 14-hour interrogation without allowing him to speak to a lawyer. Exhausted, grief-stricken, and under immense pressure, Kevin was coerced into giving a false confession. During the grueling interrogation, detectives used a mix of intimidation and manipulation. They repeatedly showed Kevin graphic photos of Riley's body and threatened him with the death penalty. At one point, they even suggested that if he confessed, he might receive a lighter sentence. The psychological torment broke Kevin down, and he eventually confessed to a crime he didn't commit, believing it was his only way out. Based on this coerced confession, Kevin was arrested and charged with Riley's murder. He was held in jail for 8 months, all the while facing the terrifying prospect of the death penalty. This section delves into the flawed investigation tactics used by the police, which included ignoring crucial evidence that could have pointed to the real killer. The mishandling of the case and the rush to convict Kevin highlight significant flaws in the justice system. Kevin's family, convinced of his innocence, fought tirelessly for justice. Leading the charge was Kathleen Zellner, a renowned attorney known for her work on wrongful conviction cases. Zellner and her team managed to have the DNA evidence from the crime scene tested, a crucial step in proving Kevin's innocence. The DNA results were a game changer. They excluded Kevin as a suspect, showing that he could not have been Riley's killer. After 8 harrowing months in jail, facing the death penalty, Kevin was finally released. The legal battle was intense and emotionally draining for Kevin and his family. They had to endure public scrutiny, the stigma of being accused of such a heinous crime, and the pain of losing Riley. The fight for exoneration wasn't just about freeing Kevin. It was about clearing his name and seeking justice for Riley. Zellner's relentless efforts not only secured Kevin's release, but also highlighted the serious flaws in the initial investigation. The evidence that was ignored, the coercion during the interrogation, and the rush to convict Kevin all pointed to systemic issues within the justice system. Kevin's release was a moment of triumph, but it came at a significant cost. The emotional toll on Kevin and his family was immense, leaving scars that would last a lifetime. This section delves into the painstaking legal process and the personal struggles faced by the Fox family during their fight for justice. In 2009, a breakthrough came when a tip led investigators to Scott Eby, a convicted sex offender who lived nearby. Eby's DNA matched the evidence found on Riley, finally providing the key to solving the case. Eby confessed to the crime in chilling detail. He explained how he had been drinking heavily and using drugs the night he broke into the Fox home. Eby entered through the back door, which was broken and couldn't lock. Inside, he saw Riley and her brother asleep in the living room. He abducted Riley, taking her to his car, and then drove to Forsyth Woods County Forest Preserve. In the secluded area of the preserve, Eby committed horrific acts. He sexually assaulted Riley in a public restroom and then drowned her in the creek to prevent her from identifying him. Eby's confession was corroborated by the DNA evidence that had excluded Kevin Fox and by other physical evidence at the crime scene. The investigation that led to Eby's capture involved meticulous work by law enforcement. After the initial mishandling of the case, this renewed effort was driven by the need to find justice for Riley and clear Kevin's name. Eby was already incarcerated for other crimes when his DNA was tested against the evidence from Riley's case. His subsequent confession provided the final piece needed to convict him. Scott Eby was charged with multiple counts of first-degree murder and predatory sexual assault. To avoid the death penalty, he pled guilty and was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. This section details the investigation, the critical DNA match, and Eby's eventual confession and conviction, bringing a sense of closure to a case that had deeply affected the Fox family and their community. Following his exoneration, Kevin Fox sued the authorities for wrongful imprisonment and malicious prosecution. He won a significant settlement, initially awarded $15.5 million, later reduced to $8.5 million. However, the emotional scars from this ordeal were profound and lasting. Kevin and his family struggled to rebuild their lives. The wrongful conviction had tainted his reputation, leaving him with a stigma that was hard to shake off. Despite the legal victory, Kevin faced ongoing public scrutiny and mistrust. The emotional toll was immense, affecting his relationships and mental health. The wrongful conviction not only devastated Kevin, but also placed an incredible strain on his family, leading to long-lasting trauma. This section reflects on the broader implications of Kevin's case for the justice system. It underscores the urgent need for reforms to prevent such miscarriages of justice. Issues like coercive interrogation techniques, the rush to judgment without proper evidence, and the lack of accountability for wrongful convictions are highlighted. The case calls for improved investigative procedures, better training for law enforcement, and robust legal safeguards to protect innocent individuals. We'll also discuss the ongoing struggles for families affected by wrongful convictions. The emotional, psychological, and financial burdens they bear are immense. Kevin Fox's story is a powerful reminder of the need for systemic change to ensure that justice is truly served and to prevent other innocent people from enduring similar ordeals. Kevin Fox's story is a stark reminder of the potential for error within our justice system and the devastating impact it can have on innocent lives. While the true perpetrator, Scott Eby, was eventually brought to justice, the trauma endured by Kevin and his family cannot be undone. This case underscores the importance of due process, proper investigation techniques, and the need for continued vigilance to ensure justice for all. If you found this video informative, please like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Your support helps us bring more stories like this to light. Thank you for watching.